You wouldn't be exhausted but unfulfilled, busy but empty, spiritual on Sundays and lost the rest of the week. Let's be honest, you don't need more motivation. You don't need another sermon. You don't need another YouTube video after this one. You need alignment. Because right now you're asking God to bless a life He never designed. And that's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You treat the Bible like a suggestion box, a comfort book, a quote generator, something you open when life hurts, then close when obedience costs. But what if, just for a moment, you treated it like a blueprint? Not inspiration, instruction. Because a blueprint doesn't care how you feel. It tells you how the building stands or collapses. And here's the first uncomfortable truth. Most of your frustration comes from ignoring instructions you already know. You don't lack information. You lack submission. You know what God says about your habits, your relationships, your money, your mouth, your discipline, your character. You just don't like what it requires. So you negotiate. You delay. You spiritualize disobedience and call it waiting on God. That's not waiting. That's stalling. Second hard truth. You want God's promises without God's process. You want peace without pruning, purpose without pressure, blessing without obedience. But blueprints don't work selectively. You don't get to say, I'll follow this part, but ignore that part. That's how structures collapse. If the Bible was your blueprint, your mornings would look different. You wouldn't wake up reaching for your phone first. You'd reach for clarity before noise, direction before distraction. You'd stop asking, how do I feel today? And start asking, what am I called to do today? Because discipline beats emotion every time. If the Bible was your blueprint, your relationships would look different. You'd stop entertaining people who pull you away from who you're becoming. You'd stop calling access love. You'd stop confusing attention with connection. You wouldn't keep dating red flags and praying they turn green. You'd obey even when it costs you loneliness. Because obedience always costs before it pays. If the Bible was your blueprint, your struggles wouldn't shock you. You'd understand that resistance doesn't mean you're off track. It usually means you're finally on it. You wouldn't quit every time it gets uncomfortable. You wouldn't interpret hardship as God abandoning you. You'd recognize it as construction, noise, pressure, refinement. That's what building sounds like. Here's the third truth most people can't handle. God doesn't adjust His word to fit your lifestyle. He expects your lifestyle to adjust to His word. Read that again. You don't rewrite the blueprint because you're tired. You don't lower the standard because culture changed. You don't skip steps because obedience feels inconvenient. Delayed obedience is still disobedience, and partial obedience is still rebellion. If the Bible was your blueprint, you'd stop asking God for signs. You'd stop saying, God, show me what to do, because He already did. You'd stop chasing feelings and start following truth, because feelings shift, truth doesn't. If the Bible was your blueprint, you'd stop living reactionary. You wouldn't let emotions run your decisions. You wouldn't let fear dictate your future. You wouldn't let comfort be your compass. You'd move by conviction, not convenience. And yes, it would be harder, but it would be clearer. You'd stop living confused, stuck, double-minded. Because blueprints remove guesswork. They tell you where walls go, where weight can be carried, where support is non-negotiable. Remove them and the whole structure suffers. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop asking, does this feel right? Start asking, is this aligned? Stop asking, will this make me happy? Start asking, will this make me faithful? Because happiness fades, faithfulness builds. If the Bible was your blueprint, your prayers would change. You'd stop asking God to bless what He never instructed. You'd start asking Him to correct what's out of alignment. You'd stop praying for open doors while refusing to walk through the ones already open. You'd stop asking for clarity while ignoring commands. And slowly, quietly, everything would start to change. Not overnight, not magically, but deeply. Your mind would get sharper, your boundaries stronger, your purpose clearer. Not because life got easier, but because you finally built on something solid. So here's your challenge. Stop treating the Bible like a decoration. Stop highlighting verses you don't intend to live. Stop asking God to co-sign your plans. Open it like a blueprint. Read it like instructions. Obey it like your life depends on it, because it does. Build the life it describes, even when it costs you comfort, especially when it costs you pride. Because when you follow the blueprint, the foundation holds. And if you ignore it, don't be surprised when everything keeps falling apart. Now choose. Keep patching cracks, or finally build the way it was designed.